Welcome back to Lane Switching. Today we're back. We're back at Viva Recording Studio, and I'm here with an up-and-coming underground Ottawa hip-hop artist. I got none other than O.NMusic in the building. How are you doing today, man? Thank you for being here.
I'm doing good. Everything's good. Everything's blessed. It's good to be doing finally an interview with you.
Yeah, bro, for sure. I've been keeping up with your music for a minute, so it's nice to really dive into your career and your catalog and everything like that. But let's just start off from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing and your early life.
Yeah. So I grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina. I lived there till I was 11, and then I came here to Canada. I came to 40 is like a small town. Lived there for a year. My dad passed away during that time, and then after we moved to Hamilton, after I lived there for a couple years, and then I moved here to Ottawa during my grade 9 year. So that was 2015. 2015, and I've been here since. It's been good. The city's very much changed me. It's given me and provided me with unique experiences that have molded me into becoming the person that I am today. And I love Ottawa. It's imperfect, but it's a great city. I love Ottawa.
For sure, man. And how was that transition? How was coming to the city? It's an interesting time to make a transition right before high school. You know what I mean? A lot of times you get into high school and a lot of friendships are already kind of set in stone, and kind of finding your way in that social environment and that school environment. How was that?
Yeah. It was hard. It was very hard. Real ones that know me, I'll be honest, grade 9, that was like the worst year of my high school experience because, I was getting bullied. I was getting made fun of. I was very highly insecure back then, and I was very self-conscious of myself. And it was just, overall, it was very difficult at first, the transition, because I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't really know who I was. And I was struggling with a lot during that time, personally, and even, just mentally, because of the move and just losing friends. And it was really hard for me. It was really hard. And going to high school my first year didn't make anything better. It's like it made a lot of things worse. Like a lot of things that happened in grade 9, it mentally scarred me for a long time. A lot of things that happened to me just in that year alone, it mentally scarred me for a long time. And it didn't take until like after high school for me to heal and forgive from all of that, because just that year alone in high school, I went through a lot. So but I'm a survivor. I made it out, and I'm here today to share my story.
For sure. How do you feel like maybe those experiences and that time period of your life in high school, how do you think that has shaped maybe your music? How do you think that's influenced your music?
That's a good question, because it influenced my music a lot more so back then, because when you're in high school and with me making music, I was just making music about the things that I was going through in my life during that time. So it influenced my music more so a lot back then. Now, not really. But, of course, I'll reminisce about things from high school, and, I'll always reference them back probably in my music. But for the most part, it doesn't have as much of an influence on my newer music than it did on my older music. It had more of a profound impact on my older music, but yeah, I don't really see it having a profound impact on my music moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. That's fair.
Yeah.
And now, I guess let's just take a step back. When and why did you start making music?
So before I started making music, I actually had a passion for drawing. Like, I wanted to be a cartoonist when I was younger. I used to draw cartoons. Like, I still have all my comics that I used to draw from when I was younger. Drawing was just always something that I loved to do, but I had a true passion for it from like around grade 6 to grade 8. I wanted to become a cartoonist.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know Big Nate,
Big
the
Nate.
comic strip?
I'm not. I think I've heard of it, but I'm not quite sure.
Oh well, it was my favorite comic strip back in the day, and like I used to draw it. I used to read all. I still have like some of the Big Nate books that I bought with my own money back in the day. I really that was one of my favorite, like that and Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I used
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
you know, and I had a real passion for that, but I stopped it as soon as I got to high school because it wasn't cool. You know what I mean? I just stopped it, but that's always been a part of who I am. That's still a part of who I am now. I love animation. I love comics, and I'm not really into it, like that much into it. But to get back to your question and to answer your question, so I got into music because, to be honest, I always loved rapping. Like even before I made music in the studio, I was always rapping. Like in grade 8, but I would do it. I would just do it by myself, and I wouldn't really tell anybody about anything because me, I'm a very closed off person. I don't really just tell people about things that I'm doing. So during that time, I started to develop a passion for music. Even after grade 9, the summer of grade 9, going into grade 10, I started making music. So I believe I started making music because my dog AL. Shout out to AL. He hit me up on Instagram, and him and I, we were already friends before. But he's like, "Yo, I have a studio. Come over, and we'll make some music." And after I did that for the first time, um, that's what really ignited my love for music. Just when him and I, we were in the studio making bangers, and that's what really kind of kickstarted my love for making music. And I knew this was something that I wanted to do moving forward.
For sure. I mean, AL. That's a pretty big name in the city. Somebody who's made some good music, made some good tracks. How is that environment? Growing up and just still in those early phases of life, still as a teenager, creating music. Do you ever look back on that and just it almost years removed puts it in perspective how impactful that was for you, and maybe getting back to that creative setting? Do you ever find yourself wanting to be more in a setting where you're working with individuals that it's like your closest friends and you're just doing it for the love of it? Or has it developed into something else with your career where it's just kind of like you're kind of locked into your own shit now and you want to just focus on making your own music and being in that creative space where you're, hearing from others is just not how it once was?
That's a very good question because, you know, with me, it's kind of both because I'm doing my own thing. I'm still becoming my own person when it comes to me honing in as an artist. I want to always focus on myself and I always want to dial in on myself. That's just not as an artist, just as an individual. Like like I said, I'm very closed off. I'm very much like a loner. You know what I'm saying? Because I've always felt more comfortable being alone than around people. So I'm always going to focus on my artistry, but at the same time, I enjoy the vibes, with creating with people that I'm close to and that, you know, our music aligns with one another because that's how it used to be back in the day. That's how it used to be back in the day. We used to be in the studio and we used to actually have fun making music and just enjoying the vibe and the energy. It was just like with doing that, it ignited my love for music because how I saw exactly how something nothing could be made into something. You know what I mean? Just by, you being inspired by someone and you and someone else coming together and collaborating and making something of it. That's always been something that I hold near and dear to my heart, especially when I do it with people that I'm close to, and it's really it's a beautiful thing. That's just what making music is all about at the end of the day, creating something that's unique and that's true to you, because that's what music is all about. And that's gonna always touch the heart and impact the people that it
Hmm.
connects with.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Um, Creative process wise, when you were in that space where you were working with others, and
Hmm.
now that you've kind of more been on a solo mission, let's just say,
Hmm.
do you think your creative process has changed a lot, or have you still made music the same way you were making, whatever, how many years ago?
Um, no, I don't think my I don't think my creative process has changed that much. I feel like it's still the same. Um, it's just a little bit different now because I've evolved as a person. And naturally, as me evolving as a person, my music has evolved as well. So, my creative process is a slightly bit different, but it's not that much different than it was when I was younger. My approach is my mindset, my approach towards writing a song is different because I really truly look to write from the heart. I used to restrict myself because I always cared about what people thought. And when you care about what people think, that's going to affect your writing process. And that's what was the case with me because, I was someone who, like I mentioned prior, I was very insecure. I was very, very, very conscious of what other people thought. And it affected the way that I made music. It affected the way that I made music. And once I identified that, I had to tell myself and I had to really ask myself, okay, if you don't make music that's true to you, if you don't make music that's coming from the heart, and if you're still caring about what people are thinking about you, then you're not going to make the best music. And you're not only going to not make the best music, but you're not going to make music that is authentic. And people are going to feel it because it's not authentic to you, because you're going to feel it before other people feel it. And that's what I was feeling. That's what I was feeling with my music. And I really started to aim and work towards being authentic in my music, being true, saying the things that I want to say, because I only said things in my music that other people would like, not what I would like and not what I really feel. And overall, I had to work on myself to find that courage within me to write about the things that are authentic to me. And it was hard because I had to grow as a person in order to be able to do that. And it didn't take until me growing as a person to realize that um, I'm now able to write what's true and authentic to me because I'm someone who, just doesn't really care about what people think about me anymore. I just lost interest in giving a fuck. So nowadays, my creative process is still similar to what it was back then, but my approach and my mindset to writing a song is different because I don't really give a fuck about what people are going to say, because people are going to talk, people are going to say whatever. But at the end of the day, what I'm going to say is what I'm going to say because it's true to me. That's just really my approach when it comes to making music.
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
When it comes to, I guess you're speaking on authenticity.
Hmm.
When it comes to authenticity, a lot of people, I think, um, associate that as well with uniqueness. What do you
Hmm.
think is unique about your music? What do you think when people are listening to you is like, oh, I want to listen to O.NMusic because
Hmm.
you're different than so and so, and I
Hmm.
like this and this about you. What separates you from others?
Um, what separates me from others when it comes to music, I'm willing to push the boundaries. That's something that I'm always willing to do. I've experimented with different sounds. Like all you got to do is go back in my catalog and just listen. Like I've experimented with a lot of different sounds, a lot. And that's the thing about me. I'm not afraid to try. I've never been afraid to try different things. I've never been afraid to go outside of the box and do what no one's done. I'm not afraid to try something different. I'm not afraid to be different. I'm not afraid of, you know, I'm not afraid of anything when it comes to creating music, because I'll be honest, when it comes to creating music, I'm always going to stick to my gut, and I'm always going to do creatively um, what I want to do creatively. I always stick to my creative vision. And that's something that been I've always been that way. Even as far back as, 2017 when I started making music, I always wrote songs and I always made music the way that I wanted to hear it. So if I wanted it to be a specific way, like with ad libs in the background, or if I envisioned to hear it a certain type of way, that's the way I'm going to stick to it. That's always going to be the way I'm going to stick to it, because that's the vision for the song. That's the vision. And if that's a vision, if I have a vision for a song, then I'm going to stick to that vision, and I'm going to make sure it sounds the way that I envisioned it, because that's a part of the vision for the song. So, to be honest, I'm someone that, when it comes to authenticity, I value it because I know that's what connects with people. And authenticity, I don't want to appear as someone who's perfect, or I don't want to appear as someone who's basically someone that I'm not. I don't want to be a phony. I don't want to be a fake. I don't want to be someone that I'm not. Even when you see me in person, even when anyone sees me in person, I don't want to be someone that I'm not. Like, I'm the type of person, if I don't like you, you're gonna know I don't like you. You're gonna know. You're gonna know, right? Or if you're someone that, is bothered, or if I'm irritated by you, if I'm not amused or impressed, or if I don't like you being around me, I'm not gonna fake it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pretend like I'm wanting you to be around when I don't want you to be around. Like, that's just the thing with me. It's the same thing with me in person with my music. Like, with my music, I'm not gonna pretend. I'm not gonna pretend. I'm always gonna do what I feel is true to me. That's why I was always scared to show off the R&B version, the R&B style, because it took me years to actually want to sing in my music, because I was always so insecure about my singing voice. But one of my favorite artists, Kid Cudi, he has an imperfect singing voice, and I was always inspired by him. And recently, I was inspired by him just listening to his old music, because I just notice his singing voice is imperfect, but it sounds good. It sounds good. It sounds good, and I had to just find my voice. That's the thing I just needed to do. I needed to find my voice, and once I found my voice, and once I was confident, once I was comfortable with my voice, that's when things changed for me. And nowadays, I'm really willing to do anything when it comes to creativity, because people don't know. Like, people see me with all these muscles and shit, but I'll be honest, I'm a very creative person. I'm very creative. I've always been that way. So it's something that drives me, not just in music, but in my life. I'm very creative. Like, even with my thought process of certain things, I'm very creative. So, when it comes to authenticity in my music, I really just make sure that I'm sticking to my creative visions, and that I'm embracing different types of creativity, because sometimes, creatively you get stuck, right? And sometimes it's infuriating for me, because I'm someone that's very creative. So when creatively I get stuck, it honestly just it infuriates me. So I just make sure that creatively I'm sticking to the visions that I have, and creatively I'm always willing to push the boundaries. So that's really my thing. I just want to be creative because when I'm creative, I feel free. I'll be honest, when I'm creative, I feel free. So just continue to push the boundaries and to just create, not to be afraid to create.
So you mentioned Kid Cudi, obviously a
Mm-hmm.
sick rapper, sick artist, just in general,
Mm-hmm.
producing and as a musician across the board. Wh- who are, outside of obviously Cudi, who are some big influences for you musically?
That's a good question. And I remember NF was my biggest influence. Like I love his old music, truly dear to my heart. It helped me through a lot of things in my life. So he was the for sure. Kid Cudi, Kanye West. Um, those were big influences. Um, I'm trying to think. Trying to think because I had more, but I would say like those are my like top three. I would say like NF, Kid Cudi, Kanye West. And it's really for me. Those three were artists that I was always able to connect to because they were always so vulnerable in their music, and I could always relate to them. And I could always connect with them. Like Kid Cudi, his dad, he passed. I remember in the song soundtrack to my life, he mentioned that, and like I was connected with that because my dad, he passed when I was 12, like the same age that he did. So that's kind of like something I always was able to connect with him on, and his music always connected with me deeper. And it's kind of a corny thing to say, or I don't know if it's corny or a common thing to say, but Kid Cudi saved my life. I'll be honest, Kid Cudi, he really saved my life with his music, and it really helped me through a lot of dark times that I was going through in my life in general. So, Kid Cudi, especially with Kid Cudi, like he's really just an artist that I hold near and dear to my heart. Even though a lot of people don't like to give him the credit that he deserves, like he really impacted a lot of people and saved a lot of lives. So, and I'm one of them.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
man. I mean, that's the power of music, and that's the power a great musician can have. I mean, even if you talk about people who have, started just like yourself a career in music, who are inspired by Kid Cudi. Look how far Travis Scott went, and
Mm-hmm.
because of his name being Scott Mescudi, that is why Travis Scott is Travis Scott. So,
Mm-hmm.
he's obviously one of the most impactful artists, I would say, of our generation. Something I'm not sure about NF, but about the two others, they're well, I guess Kid Cudi somewhat, but definitely Kanye is a rapper producer. Did you ever see yourself dabbling into producing outside of just rapping, being
Nah,
a
nah.
artist?
I was never interested in producing. To be
Yeah,
honest, for me, it wasn't really my thing.
yeah,
It wasn't really my thing. My cousin Philly Cheese, he be doing the producing. He was always the producer. Me, I'm the artist. I'm the rapper. I was never really interested in producing.
yeah.
But
Fair enough,
yeah.
fair enough. And as well, you were talking a bit about how you're dabbling into R&B. When did you start getting into R&B, and kind of what made you make that decision? What got you that confidence to take a shot at it?
Um, I always experienced with R&B because I remember when I dropped my first mixtape like back in 2017. I remember I forget the name of the song. I think it was like I forget the name of the song, but I was always experimenting with R&B, but I was always scared to fully experiment and dabble with R&B. Up until 2023 when I dropped based off my collection, one of the EPs that I dropped in 2023, where I really just went full R&B mode on that EP for the most part. But I was always scared. That's the thing. Everything I did creatively, it always came back to me just like giving too much of a fuck. It it always it always came back to me caring so much about what people would think. Like, I always wanted to do it, but I just cared so much. That was just my thing with me. I just cared too much. I cared so much. And it just got to a point where I was just holding everything that I wanted to do inside of me, and I just didn't want to hold it in anymore. So I just went full forced and just did it because I wanted to.
For sure. I mean, I think the world population is at 8 billion people, but people still tend to, in their own communities, get kind of just kind of locked into that mindset and that
Mm-hmm.
bubble. It's not just an Ottawa thing. It's in every community, in every city, town, whatever that case may be,
Mm-hmm.
small town, big town. Um, Breaking out of that mold and kind of breaking out of that mindset is difficult. Um, when it comes to, I guess, the Ottawa scene and all that kind of stuff, what advice would you give to somebody who's just starting fresh now, just an up and coming artist in the city now? What would, best piece of advice for them?
Best piece of advice would be to be true, be you. Be true and be you. You know, I do want to say something. It's just it's really, with the Ottawa scene. It's like when you're different, you get ridiculed for it, you get shamed for it, and it's like if you don't fit a certain mold, if you don't have a certain image, if you don't talk about certain things in your music, you're not really, people aren't really gonna take you serious. And I don't know, I just always took like an issue to that because it's like, people, have different experiences in life. It's not everybody that, wants to talk about, like killing and robbing. Like
For sure.
it's not everybody that wants to talk about that in their music. And I've always taken pride in not talking about that because that's not part of who I am. That's not who I am. Now, I'm not judging people who do because, like I just said, everybody has different life experiences. But it's like, when you don't talk about that other, rap shit, it's like you get shunned. You get shunned, and it's like, oh, this dude's corny. Oh, this dude, he's not like that. But it's like, who really cares? Who really gives a fuck at the end of the day? Because you have different life experiences, and you're going to write about different things in your music. So just be true to yourself. Be true, be you, and keep on pushing the boundaries in your own unique way. Don't really give a fuck about what people say because people are gonna say shit regardless, whether you like it or not. So just be true and be you.
For sure. Do you think that's kind of more of a problem with hip hop in general or just Canadian hip hop where almost you could say alternative styles of hip hop they kind of get put to an afterthought whereas let's just say gangster rappers they're always
Mm-hmm.
going to be number one. They're always going to be seen. You look at Toronto and
Mm-hmm.
they have someone like Hawaii Mighty who she's not in the hit like she's quite successful but she's not in the gangster rap scene. But if you compare her to a Doovie, a Pressa, a Northside Benji, guys who
Mm-hmm.
really came up in the
Yeah.
streets and came up in that sound, is that a similar problem maybe Toronto, Canada hip hop, Ottawa hip hop has, or just in general the whole genre is kind of pushes the gangster rap violence first and then the kind of alternative stuff second?
Man, I can really go deep into this, but I don't want to, so I
Fair enough.
won't. But I feel like gangster rap is always gonna be pushed into the forefront, because that's just the music that sells, and you know, it's it's kind of sad that that's the case. You know what I mean? Because that's not the only type of music that's out there. That's not the only type of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you have to only push that when there's so many different types of hip hop? There's positive, there's so many different styles. There's so many different type of styles of hip hop, and when it comes to gangster rap, like I feel no ways about it, but it's just that's the only music that people will tend to truly support like that. And it is what it is. You can't complain about it. You just gotta go and find the people that fuck with the style of music that you make, and you worry about those people, and you keep on feeding those people because those people are gonna be the people that will appreciate you. And it's all about where you're appreciated. And that's how I am as a person. I always gravitate to the people that appreciate me. So when it comes to my music, it's the same thing. I'm always gonna gravitate, and I'm always gonna focus on the people that appreciate me. Instead of trying to appease an audience that probably wouldn't even fuck with me anyways. There's no point. So yeah, that's really what it's all about. Just go to where people appreciate you. Just go to where people will listen to your music and will give you a chance. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like that's something that the Ottawa music scene has an issue with for sure. But I feel like it's changing. It's changing. I feel like it's definitely changing for sure. It's definitely changing because there's a lot of different type of talented artists in this city. There's a lot. There's a lot. You know, R&B, rap. There's a lot of talented artists.
Most definitely. And speaking back to you starting in high school and working with AL and all that kind of stuff, was that ever something where obviously that was very impactful to you, and getting into music now? Do you ever see, do you ever look back and think, well, what if I started this music shit in, let's just say, Hamilton, where you lived a little bit, or what if you started in, you moved it to Toronto instead of Ottawa? Do you think the impact of your surroundings and your city is what made you start music, or do you think you would have gone to it anyways, and maybe it would have gone a different route because of your environment and who you're surrounded with, obviously?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I know I've said that a couple times, but that is actually a very good question because, I think it's actually the first one that you said, the surroundings. I feel like my surroundings, me coming to Ottawa, influenced me wanting to become an artist. Because even though before I started making music, I was kind of, into it, but, it was just more so listening. I always had an ear for music. I always had an ear for different styles of music. So I listen to all different styles of music. I listen to alternative. I listen to R&B. I listen to, of course, rap. I listen to sometimes like I'll even listen because I listen to, I don't know if you've ever heard of like Poor Stacy, like he's
Not
like
quite sure what type of music's that.
like it's like underground, but
Okay.
yeah, like he has an album called The Breakfast Club. Like I'll listen to that. That's more like rock, alternative.
Cool.
And I was always like into the SoundCloud rap scene. But my surroundings for sure definitely influenced me, and the opportunities also, like just even like AL hitting me up to go to the studio. If that never really happened, I don't know if I would have the love for music that I have now for it. Because I learned a lot. I learned a lot just by going to the studio and recording with him all of those years. It taught me so much. It taught me a lot, and it gave me a love of not just music, but the process of making music, because that's what I really enjoy. That's what I really enjoy, the process. Like, people don't understand, but the process, that's where it all happens. That's where the ad libs are made. That's where, the vocals in the background you hear. Like, it's the process. That's what it's all about, the process, And that's what I'm really starting to enjoy now. The process, because that's just what's important, because the process is going to help you understand, and it's going to give you clarity on everything that needs to be done to get to where you want to go, or to make what you want to make, in this case when you're talking about music. But for sure, like my surroundings, the people I was around, my environment. Not a lot of people were making music when I was making music. When I started, it wasn't a lot of people, but also just the love that I had for it, and I was starting to develop for it, influenced me as well. But that love that I started to have for making music started to develop once I started going to the studio.
For sure. And
Yeah.
obviously you have a pretty significant catalog, off of the last few years of you releasing music and all that kind of stuff. But for 2025, what do you have planned for this year?
Uh, and I have quite a bit planned. I have quite a bit. 2025, I just dropped um, a mic performance with the Booth. Shout out to them.
For sure.
They've been really doing their thing in the city.
Most definitely.
And I'm gonna be dropping some more performances, mic performances. I'm gonna be dropping one soon, April 4th, with Maple Mike for my song Character
Hard.
Development. Um, Probably one of my favorite songs that I've released ever. Uh, and then I'm gonna be doing some more mic performances, and I'm currently working on an EP. Um, the EP is called New Era, and the EP is called New Era really just because I feel like not just it's a new era in my music, but it's a new era in my life as well because I'm growing. And I'm 24 years old now. I'm 24. I just turned 24 not that long ago. So um, it's truly a new era of my life, and this is gonna be a defining era of my life and moving forward. Not just in my life, but also in my music career, because music is a part of my life. So I'm really taking this next step to just take everything that I want. You know what I mean? Because my goal with this shit really is to take over. I wanna take over. I wanna be the best. You know what I'm saying? But I know what it takes, and I know what I'm gonna have to do to get there. But I'm willing to do it because I'm not scared. I don't care about what people are gonna think about me. I don't care. This is why it's a new era, because it's truly a new era. Everything that was once me, the perversion of me in 2019, 2020, whatever version of me that was scared, that was fearful, that was fearing uncertainty. That version of me, I want it to be left, gone in the past. Like, this is truly a new era, because this version of me that I am now is not scared, is not afraid to go after what he wants to go after. And this is why, for me, I really want to not only prove to myself, but prove to the city that I'm one of the best, because I want to be one of the best in the city. I want to make an impact on this city, and I want to cement my legacy in the city of Ottawa. Because I love this city, and I want to have a lasting legacy and an impact on this city like no one ever has had. But I want to have it in my own unique way. I want to carve my own lane, carve my own path. I don't need to be like nobody else. I don't need to be a part of no cliques. I don't need to be a part of no groups, right? I'll be honest. I'm a West Side artist. You feel me? I'm a West Side artist, but I'll be honest with I know, like, the city's kind of divided. I know the city's divided, but I'm not someone who pushes that type of agenda of, oh yeah, I'm a West Side artist, so always fuck everybody else. That's not me. That's not who I want to be. That's not who I'm gonna represent myself as, because that's not me. I don't want to be a part of dividing the city. There's some artists in the South, man. They're doing their thing, man. Salute to them. Salute. You feel me? And I know that's gonna probably rub some people the wrong way, but about me, I don't care. I just don't care. I don't give a fuck. I don't. I really don't. And I really want to be a part of a positive change in Ottawa, in the Ottawa rap scene. I don't want to be a part of this negativity. I don't want to be. I don't. That's not me. That's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. And it took me time to really reflect on this. It's not who I want to be. You know what I'm saying? And like, even if you don't fuck with me, then it is what it is. Like, if you don't fuck with me, then you don't fuck with me. Like, I don't seek external validation. I don't be seeking for all of this, nonsense. I just want to see this. I just want to see the Ottawa rap scene, move forward, and I just want to do my part in moving forward the Ottawa rap scene. Because I feel like, man, if Ottawa could really come together, we could really be as big as the Toronto rap scene was. We're the capital nation too. We're the capital nation, so we should have higher standards, higher expectations for the capital nation of Canada. I want it to be my goal. My goal is that one day, when I look back, I want it to be that when they talk about the Ottawa rap scene, they could say that there was diversity in the Ottawa rap scene. Because like you said before, I feel like, that's lacking. And I really want that in my artistry, that I push the boundaries and that I do as an artist what it takes to push this Ottawa rap scene forward, so that the Ottawa rap scene can be more recognized as a diversified rap scene, instead of a rap scene that's just, this artist and that artist, because there's truly a lot of the diversity in Ottawa. There truly is a lot of it. It's just not, I feel like a lot of people are just, not really comfortable with being who they are because they're afraid of being judged. And that was me. But, with everyone in Ottawa, like, we should all be different. We should all be who we are. We should truly all be who we truly are and make the music that we want to make, no matter how it sounds to other people, because it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, we all have different life experiences, but we need to not be afraid to push the boundaries, and we shouldn't be afraid to make the type of music that isn't common, that sounds different, because if we're sounding like Toronto, if we're sounding like everybody else, then they're just gonna associate and box us in with everybody else. You know what I mean? And I just don't want that for the Ottawa rap scene, because I feel like the Ottawa rap scene, it's produced so much talent. You got FTG Metro, rest in peace to him, legend. 2-time Night Lavelle. Like these are guys that have truly impacted and helped push forward the city and its sound, and I just want to be a part of that change as well, and I'm hoping that, other artists in Ottawa push forward and continue to push the boundaries as well, so that then this rap scene, this music scene that we have here in Ottawa can, be taken more serious, because I feel like we can be taken more serious. I truly do. I really believe that.
For sure. And with due time, there's a lot of good up and comings, just as yourself. There's a lot of good up and coming people in the city, and in due time, I think we will see a change and a shift with the music scene out here, that there'll definitely be more recognition. For people who want to tap into you, though, for people who want to check out your music and, maybe even work with you and hit you up for a feature or something like that, where can they find you on social media?
My social media, at O.NMusic. That's for sure. You can hit me up. I will always, reply, for the most part. And if I don't reply, then it's probably because I don't want to. I'll be honest. Yeah. But if you want to tap in with me, just hit me up. Honestly, just hit me up, and we can get some shit popping. We can get some shit going. We gotta get some shit going. This city, we gotta get this shit going. We gotta get this shit moving. We gotta get this city rocking again. Because we don't want to be known as, we're just dead city. Shit, like, nah, we gotta make some shit pop off. And it's up to us to make it happen.
For sure, man. I mean, again, it's very early into the year, so there's lots to come, and just for yourself and the overall Ottawa hip hop scene, there'll be a lot to come this year. It'll be very interesting to see where it takes us. But again, man, thank you very much for sitting down and having this conversation. Thanks for chatting and everything you're saying about Ottawa hip hop scene, yourself, man. I feel it, bro. It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope to have some artists in here as willing as they are to really support and show out for the city, man. So again, for the people, tap in O.NMusic. That was the O.NMusic interview. That's my guy, O.N.
You already know. We in this bitch.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.